These limitations, they hold us back. And there's a saying, if you want what someone has, you've got to do what they've done. And I think that biohacking has, these guys and gals, they've proven it, and then they went out to their communities and proved it. We can make normal feeling optimal.
And that's what's exciting is we're starting to see almost a shift in consciousness now in the world, especially post-pandemic, of like people focusing more on preventative medicine rather than just treating the symptom, right? Which is so healthy and great to see.
In the biohacking industry, we've seen like recently people try to jump in with non-measurable stuff.
Yes.
So we have a lot of biofeedback tools and stuff like that, but some people are very inventive and creative to come up with ideas, and but you cannot measure it, you have to feel it. And this is interpretation, so we really need to put a line there.
Welcome to the Brain Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Patrick Porter. Please join us on our mission to better a billion brains. Enjoy the episode and remember to share it with your family and friends.
Hello everyone, my name is McClain. I'm the CIO of Biohackers Magazine, here with John Fallacara, the CEO, and Dr. Patrick Porter from BrainTap. We're very excited to be here at the Biohacking Conference in Orlando. Dr. Patrick Porter, you're always working on some fantastic stuff, exciting things, and leading the biohacking industry in a lot of technological innovation. So can you tell us a little bit about where the mission is taking you in the future?
Yeah, we're always looking, how can we expand the mission of bettering a billion brains? So sleep right now is a big deal out there, right? 2/3 of the world isn't sleeping. So we're really focused on, in our research lab, we're now working on a sleep mask that can do the same thing as BrainTap, but when it's done, could be a year, could be 5 years, you never know in these developments. But what we want to do is we want to create a way to measure brainwave activity through EEG while you sleep, create an algorithm, and then I believe that within 4 to 6 weeks, we'll be able to correct that sleeping algorithm, because if they come out of that pattern, we can bring them back down while they're sleeping. Because we get really good results when people listen to it now, but it's like a physical workout. You go do the workout, then you go see how you applied those muscles later. So in the brain, in real time, I think we could see some really strong things. And I think that that's super important, but really we're always looking for things like at this conference, which is awesome, is there's so many technologies we can pair with. We love cooperation and collaboration with different technologies, because like hyperbaric, we love using it at the same time, or red light therapy. There's so many. I mean, we walk around, it's fun because I know a lot of people since I've been doing this for so many years,
of course, yeah.
and seeing how it works, and then meeting some new people that are getting into it, and seeing what technology's out there myself.
So in terms of interfacing other technologies and having more capabilities, and you were talking about algorithm, are you going to be integrating some sort of artificial intelligence, machine learning into the process to be faster? Because still we don't know when it's going to be out, but with machine learning, you can get out with a very accurate logarithm very fast.
Yeah, we're working on one of my favorite things we're working on that, like you said, we don't know when exactly it's going to be launched, but what I'd like to do is let people record their own voice. So we have an app that we're doing with machine learning that if they say, hey, I want to do gamma, or I want to do alpha, I want to do theta, they can select the brainwave training that they want. They can use my algorithm will already be in the AI, and then they'll be able to use my scripts or their own, record their own voice, because your own voice bypasses the filter and goes directly into the subconscious. And then they can pick the music, because we have a lot of music that's already been tuned for the BrainTap, and they can have their own sessions in their own voice. Years ago, I wrote a book called The Power of Your Voice. It's still available on Amazon for $200 for some reason, but it tells you how to. It tells you how to get a cassette player and do it, because that's how long ago I wrote it. But I think that now that we have this algorithm, we know that if you can put the neural algorithm that we created in the background of anything, your brain's going to work better. Just like the Mozart effect with music. We did a study and we had people hooked up to EEG and heart rate variability, and we had them listen to a piece of music. And of course, it relaxed them, got them into the alpha state, just like we thought the music did. But as soon as we turned it off, the brain went right back to its stress profile. When we added that same piece of music, we put in, and we had a 4-minute washout, then we presented the same music to the brain, and we put our algorithm in it. It took 72 hours for the stress profile to return. And that's because we're training the brain. And there's something different that happens when you're using the algorithm where we have the isochronic tones, the binaural beats, and the solfeggio frequencies all mixed in. The brain just learns better, and then it starts to adapt because it doesn't know when it's going to have that experience again.
Yeah. So it's create the pathways first. Yeah.
So talking a little bit about brain training then, and brain engagement, and really turning on these processes, adaptive processes in the brain and everything, how long would you say it takes someone to really learn that habitual response in terms of like brain neuroplasticity?
Well, we know about 60% of the people that get onto BrainTap, they'll follow the algorithm perfectly. And then about another 30% will the second time.
Okay.
We know, we did a study with over 1,000 people in Phoenix, Arizona at clinics, and we were measuring them in real time with something called the mind mirror. So it was telling us, it's kind of like HRB, but it was telling us where their brain's at. And we know the algorithm. So I'm saying they should be at 7 minutes, they should be in theta or, wherever. We found that it took 3 sessions and 100% of the people were following the algorithm. Now, then what happens is now the brain, we have to mix that up, because if they do the same thing, it's like physical exercise. You do the same thing, the muscles are going to atrophy.
Yeah.
So, for instance, let's say they want to train to gamma. We have over 50 sessions on gamma training, so that people don't have to listen to the same thing. They can rotate it through.
Yeah.
And even in our app now, what I did, because people were getting that, they'd find their favorite sessions, and that's what they would listen to. And that's okay, but you're only getting the relaxation. Just relaxing is not transforming your brain. It's helping you to reduce the inflammation and things like that. But now we tell them it says 72. So it'll have a mark on it if you've listened to it within the last 72 hours. So then you, because the brain, we want the brain to try to rewire. Every time you have a new experience, whether it's a workout experience, driving in a different way, going to a different country, doing something new and different, the brain will figure out, is this something I need to be aware of in the future? And then when you go to sleep, your hippocampus starts storing, categorizing, and organizing that information. If it doesn't think you're ever going to do it again, it forgets it over time.
Yeah.
But
it puts it on the side.
Your brain never forgets it. But our consciousness, basically our brain is a great filtering program. So, like some people will say, I don't remember names. Well, then your brain goes, okay, the name's right there, but you can't remember it because you told yourself you couldn't. So the brain goes, you told me you didn't.
See?
So you got to say to yourself, I remember names perfectly, and just start practicing. You go, hey, Dallas or John, whatever it is, you just use their name back as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Actually, you have a 93% chance of remembering that name if you use it back in the same tone, the same tempo it's presented to you. Because that way you're using that neurological feature in the brain.
Okay, that's interesting.
That is really interesting.
I want to jump into one of the topics that I really like. You've been on a mission your whole life, and I've been following you since the beginning. You're the pioneer in this biohacking industry. Is the mission of BrainTap and your mission changed from the origin of, you were already in the mission of changing brain and making better brain. You're still on the same mission, but I know that you have new projects with new facilities to come and things like that. So
my mission hasn't changed. It's just been, now we can measure it. I know a little bit more about it. When I had my transformation and my dad helped us with Silva, and I've been doing it, and it doesn't matter what I do. When I was younger, a few times I got offers to do other things. They paid me a good deal of money, and I left. But I always came back because I think this isn't just my mission. I was born to do this. So when I try to do something different, it's like if I might have a lot of money, but it'll be gone.
It's your vocation.
Yes. So what I know is if I help enough people, money will follow. I don't even focus on the money anymore. I've never had trouble with money. I'm in business. My thing is we need people. We need to help people.
Yeah.
So there's something called the Maharishi effect. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. So what they showed was they did a study in New York City where people meditated with TM on peace and harmony in the city of New York, and they were able to actually measure crime reduction during the time they were doing that. And then when they stopped, it went right back to the same crime level, right? So my thought was, well, that's because we don't have enough people on autopilot sending those kind of consciousness waves and vibrations. Because you and I, even though it appears we're separate, we're actually in each other's energy. In the National Institute of Health calls it our biosphere now. In metaphysical circles, they'd call it the aura or something like that.
The quantum,
the quantum field. And so now we're finding that we're sharing this field. And not only when we leave this meeting here and when people are watching it, there's a sense of quantum entanglement.
Right.
And so that means that a little piece of me or a little piece of you, a little piece of Dallas, they're getting it, even though it's going through electronic waves and they're seeing it on the internet or whatever, because this world is getting smaller, right?
Right.
And so as the process happens within this, I think that's why I'm on a mission to better a billion brains. At the time I started that, there were only 6 billion people. Now, they keep reproducing so fast.
Thank God.
We can stop them.
Right. So what we know with epigenetics is that ancient tribes knew this. Ancient traditions will tell us that 7 generations forwards and backwards. There's ancient traditions that talk about this. Before we even knew about epigenetics, they had it in their history.
It's true.
That this is influencing us. So that means that what we're doing, we're talking here, we're influencing our generations around us. There's a saying that if you're around 5 people that are physically fit and healthy, you're going to be the 6th.
Yeah.
If you're around 5 people that are, going to the bar and destroying their health, you're going to be the next.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's because we have these mirror neurons that we work with, and we start to imitate or reflect or mirror our environment.
Power of association.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about helping people, and we know through biohacking, a lot of people come to biohacking through a pain to purpose story, right? Talking a little bit about what you're doing in your mission and how it applies to the healthy people. Let's take a step back and look at how it applies to people that are suffering from maybe ADHD or autism and those types of diseases.
Right. I believe in my first book, I have a chapter. It's I was blessed to be the son of an alcoholic. Everybody goes through the dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
Joseph Campbell talks about it, the hero's journey. We are all on the hero's journey. In fact, in movies, if you don't stick to the hero's journey, your movie will not make it.
Exactly.
It's part of our psychology. It's part of our built-in innate nature. So if you're in the middle of that story and you end it, you just have to recycle and do it again at some point. So whatever you're going through right now, that is your mission. But as soon as you fix that problem, whatever it is, whatever technology you use, your mission now is to share that with the world. It's not to put it under a bushel basket and say, this is mine. Yeah. And that's one of the nice things about biohacking is instead of people just being in the corner and in secret, like the secret societies that would do all this healing, like even the Coptics. I don't know if the Coptics have been around since before Christ. They were the original biohackers. If you read the history, like Hamid Bey, there's a book called My Life Preceding 5,000 Burials. And he talks about in Egypt, a master there might eat a certain way his whole life. And when that master died, they'd cut him open and find out if it worked. They had to wait a whole lifetime to find out if, eating cucumbers, every day or whatever worked. Yeah. So now we have all this technology and it's undeniable, but there's still going to be people that put their head in the sand and pretend it doesn't matter. If anything's happened over the last 3 years, it's that the people that are supposedly controlling our health know nothing because we don't have a health system. We have a sick care system.
Yeah. Right.
The biohacking community created a wellness system. And not only saying, I don't want to just be well. I mean, I want to be normal. I want to be above normal.
Yeah.
Like if somebody watches your YouTube channel, right? And they see you doing all these things that you think, you're like a Cirque du Soleil act, somebody, doing these things. Right. So, I mean, they don't have to go that far, but I mean, we're all in an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
Whether it's Mary going to the grocery store, picking things out of the back of her car and putting in, or Bob going golfing, whatever it is, all these things, we want our body to be at its peak performance.
Yeah. And it's made for that. It's just like we don't use it the appropriate way.
Right.
It's been designed for these things.
And I think most people, they don't realize how kryptonite works.
Right.
Right. Kryptonite draws you to it. Yeah. And then you start believing that you don't have that power anymore. So people get the kryptonite. Maybe they started smoking when they were 12 years old. Now they're 40 or 50 and they go, I've been smoking. Your subconscious does not care how long you've done anything. Yeah, if you really truly make the commitment to be healthy, all those things will fall away because who do you really perceive yourself to be? Do you perceive yourself to, if you believe that you're a quote smoker, which is impossible, by the way, you can't be a behavior. That's the number one law of psychology. Right. But people are running around with their limited beliefs, their limited concepts about themselves, and then they'll fight you for those beliefs.
Yeah.
You say, no, do that. No, I can't do that. My mother was a chronic a stress worrier, so I'm a stress worrier. No, it doesn't. That's why I said I was blessed. He did it. I don't have to.
Yeah. That's the challenge we face a lot in the biohacking industry is that mindset, right? To get over that mindset of skepticism and to tell people that there's always hope. It's never too late.
Right.
It's never too late. And that's what we're trying to do with part of our program.
That's
with
the thing, yeah.
Cyborg
because-
certified.
Yeah, we're coming up with a certification that is given to real biohacking techniques or biohacks or products.
Proven.
Or,
Yes, proven.
Yeah, and backed up with science, publication or studies like BrainTap, for example.
Yeah.
It's not even, it's a no-brainer. But those products need to be certified and to be distinguished from the rest of the crowd that is coming into this industry because of the money that is driving.
Yeah.
And this is our role at Biohackers Magazine, is like making the cleanup, getting rid of the BS and making things better. Like you're on your mission, which is a novel mission. We're on our mission to make sure that you can keep going on your mission without being affected
without
by
being saturated with all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's so I mean, people will get into this for the money, but they won't stick around because this industry will crush people that are just in it for the money.
Yeah.
Because if it's not a good product, if it's not really bringing greatness to the world, they'll know it because they're measuring it on every wrist, every bed sleeping, every device,
with the biofeedback.
So I mean, you can't scam us. Like, unfortunately, like a lot of the medical world, they just pass things through, even if they're not even tested. We become the testing ground.
Yeah.
In biohacking, that's what I love about it. I didn't know in the 80s I was biohacking, right? I thought I was just helping my brain function better. I learned very early in my life that if I didn't do something every day to keep my brain focused, it would get off the rails. I would become this really angry, upset kid. And so even as a kid, I knew, hey, I got to have my 5 or 10 minutes. If you were with me in sports then, I would always be away from everybody for at least 20 minutes. They thought I was a little nuts because nobody was doing it back then, unless you lived in California and I was in Michigan. You need that alone time. You need that time. You need now call it mindfulness. But in biohacking, we can accelerate that. And I just think it's great that you're putting that together, that Cyborg Certified will help people recognize. Because, I mean, first of all, I always look at who's running that company. What are they, not always what they look like, but you can tell somebody's in shape. Our body's designed to look a certain way. If somebody's not living the biohacking lifestyle, then how can their product be that good?
Yeah,
it's like like when you see personal trainers for sport and they're obese, like I don't want to be trained.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I mean, if that hurts your feelings, then lose the weight.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's not about, and they go, well, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Well, I can guarantee you, if you are 50 pounds overweight and you die, they're going to be telling your family, if they would have just been thinner, they could have had a few more years. Or a smoker, they'd say, if they just stopped smoking, they'd had a few more years. These limitations, they hold us back. And, there's a saying, if you want what someone has, you've got to do what they've done. And I think that biohacking has, these guys and gals, they've proven it, and then they went out to their communities and proved it, and then we see it here because Dave's pretty good about screening things out and using his BS meter to make sure that it's not there. So I think having what you're doing, and I know your magazine reaches a lot of people in this field, and people are getting into it because they're sick and tired of having the experience with people where they're just being, like, people don't even go to their doctor unless they're sick because they don't know how to keep them healthy. So we don't have to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough.
True. Right.
With biohacking, we can have that breakthrough daily, and we can make normal feeling optimal.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting, is we're starting to see almost a shift in consciousness now in the world, especially post-pandemic, of like people focusing more on preventative medicine rather than just treating the symptom. Right? Which is so healthy and great to see, especially in biohacking.
Yeah. There's still a gray zone into this discussion. Is like in the biohacking industry, we've seen like recently people try to jump in with non-measurable stuff.
Yes.
So we have a lot of biofeedback tools and stuff like that. But some people are very inventive and creative to come up with ideas, and but you cannot measure it. You have to feel it. And this is interpretation. So we really need to put a line there and make sure that.
Well, even with our NeuroCheck, when we first introduced it to NIH, and we had a few studies there, we brought up the head of the NIH, looked at it, she goes, you can actually measure the nervous system? I said, yeah, there's a lot of things out there that can do that, but they're so used to a lot of HRVs, unfortunately, they use an algorithm, and some are good and some are bad. But the real frequencies are there, and you can read them if you have a tool that will, pull them out.
Yeah.
And if somebody's feeling good, it should show up as a parasympathetic balance or something, or vagal tone or something.
Right.
There should be a way to measure it now.
Yeah. And today we have more opening with the science and the quantum energy measurement, frequencies, vibration, everything. Before it was like something abstract to everyone. So we're getting access to many, many more tools, and we're going to be able to cut down really back to the basic, true or no. It's not valid.
Right.
This is it.
A lot of people don't know that sometimes you got to go backwards before you go forwards.
So true,
they don't understand. They think that not everything is going to make an improvement right away, but if you got to do it over time. So we like to tell people, like, I love PMF. We have it at our clinic. I have it at my house.
Yeah.
But if you did a pre and post right away, it would look like your nervous system got wrecked. But the same thing's true if you do a physical workout. And then how fast do you recover? That's the signal. I think a lot of people miss out on that because they think everything's going to be a magic bullet and it's going to instantly make them feel like they're, Superman.
Yeah.
There's a process, right?
Yeah.
Especially with health, of getting your body to a point where the toxins are kind of out of your body, you're feeling baseline, and then you can start doing those things that increase your performance.
But our society has been like educating people in the way that, well, here's the magic pill for you, take it and you're going to solve all your problems. It's not true. It's impossible. Yeah. We're not there, and hopefully it's not going to.
Well, everything about us cycles. Nothing's going to be forever.
No, it's true.
Somebody says, "How long do I have to do it?" But I said, "Well, stress reduction. Unless you live on Gilligan's Island and your only choice is Marianne or Ginger, you got to do something."
Maybe it's a stress generator. The anxiety.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, do you have any more questions, John?
Yeah. No, for me.
I could talk all day about this, but you're a busy man.
You're the unique one that we love from day one, and we're always like thrilled to do with you.
Well, that's
honestly,
great.
It's an honor.
It's always a pleasure. So Dallas,
thank you guys.
John, Dr. Porter signing off.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us on our mission to better a billion brains. Follow at Dr. Patrick Porter on social media for updates, and remember to practice brain fitness every day.